Hi, I'm Abraham from Gozamos, and I'm here with Lauren Brescia. Brescia. And we're here at your art show opening here, the One Cake Please, which is also part of One Art Please exhibition here in the pop-up art loop space in downtown Chicago. So tell me a little bit about your work. It seems really, really fascinating.
Yes. Oh, microphone.
Let me know where he's relaxed.
So I have a BFA in sculpture, and I do a lot of installation and mixed media work, and I had taken a cake decorating course just for fun, and I wanted to find a way to mix this into my sculpture work. So I started looking into display cakes and artificial food and things like that, and that's how this all came about.
So let me ask you a couple quick questions. So this is one of your pieces. What is the title of this piece?
So this piece is called Surprise, and it was in the Art Loop Open, and it was a top 10 finalist. It's actually the reason that I was able to get this show. It got a lot of exposure. It's been an evolving piece. I started it my last year in college, and basically it was an extension of the smaller cakes I was making. So I wanted to go large scale because that's kind of what I'm more comfortable with. And when I first made it, it didn't have the hole in it, and the hole kind of just happened out of frustration, but it made it such a better piece because it added a whole new dimension, and it wasn't just a cake anymore. It started talking about all of these other things: nostalgia, preservation, kitsch. So for many people, it just means so many different things. It brings up like memories for them, and that's what I'm really interested in, how people respond to it.
Sure. So it seems like you work with a lot of variety of different materials. This has got to be that foam goop that you get at a hardware store, right? Some kind of packing foam, or how exactly is it constructed?
So basically, this is pink construction foam, and then I like working with a lot of like construction materials, things that I can transform, and people will be, this looks like frosting, but it's actually spackle. So yeah, like the base is pink construction foam, and then there's spray polyurethane foam, plaster, spackle. This is Sculpey, which is an oven-baked clay. There's pearls and caulk, and then like there's a resin over it. That's what's giving it the shiny finish. And then the inside is just more spray polyurethane foam and found objects and things like that. So, and it breaks apart into sections. So a lot of people are always wondering, how do I transport it? Or many people think it's ceramic, which would be crazy because it would weigh a ton, but it actually is not too bad since it's made out of foam. It's not too heavy when it's broken into pieces.
Wow, so let me ask you a couple different questions. So you said you started with one of the smaller pieces, and right away looking at your work, it reminds me of a surrealist wedding, right? When you look at this kind of, it's melting, it's evolving, it's morphing in so many different situations. Is there a particular artist or reason that maybe you started working that way, or is it more an issue of the materials that lend to that kind of issue?
I think that I like the idea that they're not these like pretty cakes. I like to explore like the idea of like the grotesque, and that these are sugary and excessive and decadent, and they go beyond, like they're almost like too sugary, and I don't like things that are clean and perfect. I want them to have character, and these just they have this like bodily feel. They have a gesture to them, and that's what I like about it. Like there's so many different surfaces. You can find something different on every part of the cake. I'm just interested in like the materials too. They like lend themselves to. I let them kind of do what they're gonna do. I can't fight the materials because a lot of times that just doesn't work.
So let me ask you a couple questions. So in terms of maybe this piece, what was the length of construction time, and maybe one of the smaller pieces? What is the process like?
So basically, with this piece, I, as I mentioned, I started in college, but then I was kind of working on it over a course of like 2 years maybe. But what happened was I would, put it away for a little while and take it out again. And so maybe like 5 months of hardcore labor, but it would just kind of evolved over 2 or 3 years and became more detailed on the outside. The inside has been different. I've switched up kind of the scenes on the inside, which is an interesting aspect that it can always change and become something different. So
that's really awesome. So in terms of subject matter, obviously you're working with cakes and pastries. Is that because of that something that you've always been interested in terms of baking, or are there other subject matters you're currently exploring?
Yeah, Yeah, this show is kind of curated just to my cake-themed work, but I do other work that is more installation-based and fabric mixed in with the found objects, and I'm really interested in the idea of the feminine kind of domesticity, with sewing and fabrics, and a lot of my color choices kind of lend itself to that, and then just very whimsical and this strange kind of beauty. And since the found objects are a huge part of my work, I think just because you grow up and you're taking in all these things, and I remember going to my aunt's house and she always had these lamps that were with these crazy Baroque women on them, and the elaborate lampshades and the poodles, which you'll see like a poodle inside of my cake. So it's kind of things that you subconsciously take in, growing up, and I'm drawn to these things because I am reminded of them. So this kind of theme plays out in this piece, as well as the photographs, which are based off of real cakes. And then the smaller cakes are kind of not as bodily and gestural as the larger ones, but they still do push the boundaries of cake decorating. And I have a huge sweet tooth, so I think that's I'm Italian. Food is a big deal in my family. I've always grown up eating great pastries from nearby Italian bakeries, so I've always just kind of been interested in that. And then I think with all the Food Network kind of cupcake craze, I just got interested in it, and now I love using cake as a medium. So
yeah, completely. I'm sure between Bleeding Heart Bakery being a big inspiration to you and a variety of different things, so that's really wonderful.
Yeah, definitely. I was so glad that I could get being in this show. Every day people would come in, they would ask me if I was a cake decorator, if this was a bakery and they could have cakes, and I would have to explain, sorry, these are just sculptures. But then I kept thinking about, what if I tried to incorporate this edible element? And yeah, it was just so great that I was able to work with all these great bakers and bakeries. So
well, that's wonderful. So tell us a little bit about your show. Obviously, this is a closing night. We're here today, but I hear that you've got something popping up possibly from Mars Gallery.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. I used to intern there, but I am kind of talking with them and hoping maybe for something in the future. Not really sure yet. I do have a show that's opening next Friday. It's called The Very Pink of Perfection, and it's in Oak Park at Gallery Pink. And it's myself and another artist, Janice Elkins. She does some abstract painting, and it's a whole pink theme show. And I'll be doing these kind of pink installations in the front windows and different work than this. Some of the cakes will be in there, but more fabric and found objects.
Well, that's really wonderful. I can't wait to check it out. I know it's perfect, right? Right off the Green Line, and so it's really great. Our Oak Park is a thriving art community. It's really wonderful. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us, and best of luck with your show.